Okay, so my radiator's leaking. I gotta let it cool down so I can put some more water in it. So, there's always two sides to every story, and that's the danger in conducting an investigation where you try to say that one party failed to participate. I've never been invited to testify. I've repeatedly asked informants. I confronted one informant at the Hamilton and asked her, who are you reporting me to? Who's the police officer that you're saying all this about me to? After she had sat down by me and asked me when I was going out, and that's the accusations that were made against me, that I went out every night and that these informants just had to take care of Jacob because I just left him. No, I never left my son at home alone. I never left him at the Hamilton. Uh, that's something I would never do. And I mean, he's 13 now. He's old enough to stay at home by himself, but he was only 8 years old then. And I asked him, I asked this one girl, this informant, who are you reporting me to? Who's the police officer you're saying all this to about me? After she just falsified audio monitoring, in which she was, basically walking up to me and saying, yeah, Janae, you look great. Wow, you must be going out tonight. And I wouldn't. My lipstick was gone. I had put on mascara that morning and lipstick, which is all the makeup I usually ever wore. If I wore any at all, the mascara was smeared under my eye. My hair was a mess. I washed dishes. My shirt was drenched. Uh, wasn't anything about me that looked like I was getting ready to go out. And I just asked her, who are you saying this to? Who's the cop you're reporting me to? Who are you saying all this to? And she was like, you're not really, doing, what you're supposed to be doing. She laughed in my face was the first thing she did. And then after she did that, she told me I needed to go check myself into a psychiatric unit and that my son needed to be treated for my delusions, for exposure to my delusions. And the day that we got kicked out of there, Ralph, the director, had falsified an accusation against me that I had been, you know, that I had been slamming doors. Well, there was a draft through the stairwell because it was right up off the ground floor. But and if you close your door, it could sometimes sound like you were slamming it, but I didn't ever slam it. And they were saying that I never associated with people that acted like I was paranoid and stuff like that. Gee, I wonder why I would act that way. There's a convicted, or there's a fugitive pedophile that I didn't know was a fugitive that was making up lies about me and my son. These people were doing this shit to me, falsifying audio monitoring, and trying to lure my son away, right? And then trying to accuse me of drugs and drinking and stuff, and falsifying evidence to do that, using a cell phone to surveil the conversation. That woman, Jan, had a phone up to her ear that she was waiting for the second that I walked out of my door to go to the bathroom. To the point that Jake and I actually started urinating in a trash can that I bought liners for, and wouldn't, we didn't even want to go to the bathroom then, because of what she did. Those are things that nobody has heard about. Those are things that my son and I routinely experience that obviously involve the Shreveport Police Department. That squad car would come straight and park in an idle right in front of the building, and Jan would go down the stairs straight to it, And I think I went down there once and started out the door, and the squad car took off. And I jumped all over Jan many times. And so that was the accusation. And then they brought a therapist in from some other charitable organization one day when Jake and I came home. And she was saying that she was there to help me and Jake, and that Jacob needed therapy for exposure to my delusional thinking. She was a licensed therapist, and I never met her before. She never met me. All she knew was what she'd been told. Um, so that was what it was supposed to be, all based on the testimony of street trash people that were doing nothing but lying. So, and I knew that, and it was unbelievable to experience. It really was. And that guy Ralph, who was the director, was saying all this about me, and that I was slamming doors and acting paranoid and wouldn't talk to anybody. I'd stopped coming to the kitchen to cook. That I had threatened Jan, and one day when Jan was going down the stairs to go out and meet the squad car, I told her I saw her doing it. I said, "You know what, Jan, be careful going down the stairs. I hope you don't slip and fall." And she reported me for threatening her for saying that. Anybody else probably would have pushed her down the stairs or just taken her out somewhere and beaten her to death for what she was doing. And, this is a place where the University Church, what Stuart Freeman recommended that I go live there. So now here we have this music teacher who's going to testify and say that she invited me to testify or participate or offered me assistance by standing behind my vehicle and coughing once while Mr. Scarrow stood in front of my vehicle and waved at me. I always look the other way if I see her in the car line, and was one of the reasons that I preferred picking Jacob up from the walk-up door instead of driving through the car line. I don't think she's a licensed teacher. I think she was running workshops, music workshops for kids, and they hired her there at Magnolia. So it's really unbelievable. That's just one place that we live, and there's a lot more details I could go into about other things that happened there, except all I can say is that I never did drugs, I didn't traffic them, I never drank alcohol. I didn't leave my son unsupervised. He stuck to me like glue because these people were absolutely horrifying to be around. And that guy Ralph didn't do anything but lie. And for a therapist, this is something else they did too. They were telling me that they had found a house for me and Jacob. And there was a woman at another housing authority type place who they had been talking to for me and Jake, and had found a house for us to live in, and that they wanted me to come pick out furniture out of their furniture storage. They were focusing then on me and Jake moving to that house. That was a lie. I called the woman and got a hold to her and asked her. She said, "I don't know anything about what you're talking about. And nobody ever talked to me about that. I hadn't told anybody that I had a house for you to live in." She said, "Yeah, they called and asked, but I told them I don't have anything." And so they were saying that kind of stuff to me, telling me that Jake and I were having to leave the Hamilton, that we were being kicked on the street. I had paid my rent. I still have my receipts from when I lived there. Paid my rent without failure. There were people that lived there for months that never paid a dime, like this guy Billy, who was out drinking all night on the boats and was eventually banned from the boat because he did that. But he dressed himself in a sports jacket and slacks and made himself look like he was a businessman, and he was just mollycoddled by these people. They were unbelievable, It's unbelievable for people to do you that way. A therapist can't diagnose you with mental illness or recommend a treatment plan for you if they haven't ever spoken to you. So for that therapist, I think she worked at a day center somewhere around in downtown. So that's my side of the story. And you tell me, if I'd testified at that time and been given the opportunity and I inquired, I would have torn the testimony of those people to shreds. So